A single apple can spark a thought. I'm Edwin. What if every major war in history was never really about ideology, but about something far more fundamental? Energy. When we look at history, we're often told different stories. In Europe, the 18th and 19th centuries are called the Age of Industrial Revolution. But in many other parts of the world, the same period is remembered very differently. It is called the Age of Colonial Expansion. Why do these two completely different narratives describe the same moment in history? Because they are actually the same story. The Industrial Revolution dramatically increased productivity, but higher productivity came with a hidden cost. Factories needed raw materials, coal, metals, later oil, and more importantly, they needed markets. Without access to external resources and external demand, industrial growth would have stalled. So expansion was not a choice. It was a necessity. Colonies were not just territories. They were extensions of an industrial system. They connected resources, production, and markets into one unified structure. And this leads to a core hypothesis. An industrial system cannot survive without external energy and expansion. Fast forward to the 20th century. A new power emerged, the United States. After World War II, instead of building colonies, the United States built a global market. Trade replaced territorial control. Finance replaced imperial administration. This is what we now call globalization. But the logic did not change. Globalization was not a new system. It was an upgraded version of the old one. You could call it colonialism version 2.0. And at the center of this system, one factor became dominant: energy. Coal powered early industry, but oil became the true foundation of modern civilization. Without oil, nothing moves, no transport, no production, no military. If we reinterpret history through this lens, major wars begin to look different. World War I, World War II, these were not just political conflicts, they were struggles over energy access. History does not repeat, but it follows patterns. And this is where history stops being the past and starts becoming the present. Today, we are told that the global system is still stable, but beneath the surface, something is changing. The United States remains a large economy, but its foundation has shifted. Manufacturing has declined. Supply chains have weakened. Fiscal pressure has increased. In earlier conflicts, the United States demonstrated overwhelming industrial strength, but recent conflicts show a different reality: longer timelines, supply shortages, limited production capacity. At the same time, industrial power has moved across Eurasia, especially in Asia. Manufacturing has expanded rapidly. This shift was not random. It was built on energy. The development of oil and gas in the Middle East enabled this transformation. It allowed industry to scale. It allowed production to relocate, which leads to a critical idea. The Middle East is the external energy heart of Europe and Asia. As long as this heart functions, industrial systems remain stable. But if it is disrupted, the system begins to weaken. Production slows, supply chains break, even advanced industries face constraints. Power is no longer defined only by GDP. It is defined by energy access and industrial capacity. Many believe the future battlefield lies in the Asia Pacific, but there is another perspective. The true strategic center may lie in the Middle East because it controls the energy foundation of Eurasian industrial systems. If that foundation is targeted or destabilized, the consequences could extend far beyond the region. This does not mean outcomes are certain. History is complex, but one pattern remains consistent. Energy shapes capability, capability shapes conflict, conflict reshapes the global order. And now we face a fundamental question. Are current events isolated incidents or signals of a deeper transformation? Because if the foundation of the global system begins to shift, what follows may not simply be another conflict, it may be a systemic reset.